My name is Jacob Silva, and this is my coach, Coach Monte. He coached me for 4 years and was around when I was also little, probably like 10 and stuff, and so he's been my coach for quite some time, and I'm here to ask him questions about the wrestling community.
Let's do it.
What got you into wrestling, and what does it mean to you?
My stepdad got me into wrestling, actually. I started wrestling when I was in 4th grade. For Monzano Wrestling Club, actually with Coach David Romero. Wrestling means, honestly, wrestling has saved my life a couple times. It's changed my life. Without wrestling, I'd probably be a different person. I was in trouble a lot when I was young, and I found something to dedicate my time to, or something to help with anger problems. It's kind of just what I've committed myself to since then.
Would you recommend wrestling to others, and why?
Absolutely. The best thing about wrestling is the life skills it teaches. Wrestling, we had to wrestle, have fun, compete, and kind of fight weekly, but at the same time, it's helped me. It's helped me in life. It prepares me to be mentally tough, through different situations and stuff, and helps me get through life, different situations I've been in.
So speaking about life and stuff, what can you take from wrestling and also apply to life? Like, what can it teach you?
Never give up. In life, you're going to run into some situations, that are hard. It's going to make you, feel like you just want to put your hands down and give up. But through wrestling, that's one thing you learn is you're mentally tough. And yeah, some things might be hard, but you got to fight through it.
What's your favorite move?
My favorite move, I love arm throws. My signature move.
Arm throws. What do you do to properly prepare your team physically and mentally?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer. A lot goes into that. It's mentioned in the That's a hard one to answer. It gets. I have a little different method, as you know, but I like to get my athletes up in the morning, start their day off, with a good run, a good workout, get the metabolism, get the day started, get your endorphins going, because that way, when you get older too, you do have to get up for work, go to school, do things like that. I try to encourage these guys, not to only be wrestling, but also faith. That's one thing that's helped me along.
What are some misconceptions people have about the sport?
I think the biggest misconception is weight cutting. I think some people believe you need to be the smallest weight class possible to do good, but it's not necessary. I'd rather maintain your weight, make healthy lifestyle choices, eat proper food instead of people sucking down, being unhealthy. That's not there's some risks, when you do health risks, doing that. So I think that's the biggest misconception. Everybody thinks you have to lose the weight cutting part. It's not. I don't believe in that.
What made you want to coach?
When I was in college, my last year, I started getting some injuries on my back and my knees and stuff like that. And I just knew I didn't want to give the sport up, so I couldn't compete anymore. But I just decided I would try to help the youth, from kindergarten all the way up to high school. That's pretty much what I've been doing.
What do you think the most important skill or mindset of a wrestler to have is?
It goes back to mental toughness. I've always preached on that. Be mentally tough. Not giving up in life. Like I said, things get hard sometimes, but you gotta find that way to fight. That goes with wrestling as well.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I would love to see actually UNM bring wrestling back. We have a lot of talented kids here, in this state. That unfortunately have to leave. They don't get an opportunity to wrestle, but if we have something like that here, I think that would be a great opportunity for these kids. I think the program is cut at the Title IX, but now, the women's wrestling is what saved our sport. There's over 50,000 girls wrestling in the country now. If not more, it could be 100,000 wrestling now, and it would be great if New Mexico could help, do that, be part of those programs. That's what, I'd like to see, and I know a lot of people around the state like to see that as well too.
What do you think of wrestling? Like, how do you think a wrestling room should be? And, like, do you think it should be a family aspect? What's your perspective?
I definitely think it should be a family aspect. You spend countless, as my high school kids, we spend hours. We spent a lot of time together. In the morning after school. Sometimes do dinner functions. Then we're together Fridays and Saturdays, and we're traveling, coming back on Sundays. I think I spent more time with you guys than your parents. It is a family aspect. You become very close, super close.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.